what's going on, everybody? It's Joe, Passion Unchained. I'm feeling awesome today. I'm going to tell you about my tattoo, what my tattoo means, and what I've learned about it since a few amazing developments in my life. So my tattoo, as you can see, and I have some deals at the end too, so stay tuned for those. As you can see, it's Greek, and it's on my shoulder, and it means tzatziki sauce, as you can see. It says tzatziki sauce. Let me get a closer look. Ooh. Isn't that crazy? I'm just kidding. It doesn't say tzatziki sauce. That would be hilarious if it did, though. No, it says Notis Auton. Now, that was something that was in ancient Greece at the temple of the oracle at Delphi, the high priestess of Delphi. She was the only woman of the times to be able to vote and have property. And she was very well respected. She was said to speak directly with the fate deities. And she would consult with Alexander the Great and Socrates or Aristotle, or both. It was a role. It wasn't a specific person. A person would change. A person would die and somebody else would come. And this phrase was written as you came into it, as you enter the oracle at Delphi. It does not mean tzatziki sauce. It means know thyself. I was first turned on to it by my 7th grade English teacher. Shout out to Mr. Bryant. And he was an interesting cat. He shared with the class philosophy. His idea was that we should learn philosophy. We were smart enough in 7th grade, and he taught us philosophy. And Notis Auton was one of his phrases he liked. In fact, I decided to get the tattoo, was waiting because I'm nervous. I was nervous. It was my first tattoo. And after I decided, before I got it, I saw that Mr. Bryant got his own on his forearm in capital Greek letters, which is pretty cool. So it's super meaningful to me. Great first tattoo. At the oracle at Delphi, it's thought to have meant something akin to know your place. Know thyself. Know your place. You're entering the temple of the high priestess of the oracle at Delphi. And she is in communion. She's in communication. I don't know about communion is probably the wrong word. She is in communication with the gods, with the fate deities. Do not misstep mortal. That is what it meant at the time, scholars believe. Now, what people like to use it as is have self-awareness. Know who you are. Know how you work. Have a sense of awareness of yourself. And there's a few things that happened in my life recently that I'm really, really proud of. One of them has to do with this thing on my wrist, and the other one has to do with every single cell in my body. Something that's in every single cell in my body. And this applies to it. This thingy-doodle here has to do with that. So this here is a Whoop strap. It's a health monitor. It monitors my heart rate and analyzes a lot of intricate data having to do with my heart rate and heartbeat, as well as an accelerometer. It is on my wrist. Actually, it's on my bicep usually, but I sweat a lot today, so I'm washing and drying that strap, and I'm using the wrist strap for now. It's on my bicep 24/7, or my wrist. I do take it off when I shower. I don't technically have to. It's waterproof, but I do. And it monitors and tells me how good my sleep is, and there's been third-party studies to say that it's amazing. It's a pretty cool thing. And I had been using it last year. Around this time, actually, is when I first got it, and I'd been enjoying it and getting some good data. And then at one point, I believe it was around August or September, I decided to stop. I wasn't getting any benefit. It wasn't that I wasn't getting any benefit, it was that I stopped listening to the data. I stopped doing anything with it, and so I was like, you know what, let me just not use it. But recently, I've been wanting to work on my sleep. That's why a lot of people use it. Some people use it for recovery and going to the gym, which is something that I definitely use it for, 100%. And some people use it for sleep. I use it for both. It detects your sleep. It figures out how much sleep you have. It figures out how restorative you sleep, how restorative your sleep was, and that way you can put yourself in a good position to feel amazing. I am on a pretty intense sleep deficit right now, but I'm also fasting, which has to do with the second development. The reason why I'm fasting has to do with the second development I'll talk about after the Whoop strap. And then I will tie in the Whoop strap and the other development and tell you why it has to do with Know Thyself Tone. Because this all ties together in the end. This ancient concept, and this is a modern application of Know Thyself, my tattoo that I have on my shoulder. So, I love the Whoop strap. It's fucking cool. My friend CJ, if you're watching this, shout out to CJ. He's working with the Whoop company to promote their events. He's running events with them and to promote their products. And I actually witnessed from the outside him doing an event, and he's a fitness teacher amongst other things. But in this particular instance, he was running a fitness class and partnering with Whoop. Every single person in the fitness class had at least 4 Whoop bands on, which is a lot, of course. It's a lot of Whoop bands, a lot of monitoring, and they were doing some kind of circuit training, and it was really cool because I could tell that they were getting, the Whoop company was getting all of this data, like mounds and mounds of data, and in the process, getting shit done, making their product better, making their analysis better. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing with the data. I didn't ask them. I don't know if they would have told me. They probably would have told me generally what they were doing. But I imagine it's to better their ability to analyze the data. And because what happens is they analyze it on the servers. I have an app on my phone that takes the data from the thing on my wrist and uploads it to the servers. And then the servers analyze it. And so they continuously update the algorithms on the servers to figure out how to glean more information from the data on the sensors. And they do a good fucking job. They actually have done a study which I believe it proved, I'm not 100% sure yet, I haven't looked at the updates, but I believe it proved that the Whoop strap can predict several days before symptoms show, if they do, whether or not you have COVID-19. Because it can accurately, within one breath of a minute, detect your respiratory rate during sleep. And that's something that does not change often. And if it changes significantly, like mine is around 16, if mine jumped up to 18, then that would indicate a lower respiratory illness, which, the most common of which right now is COVID-19. And it does that a few days before symptoms show up, if they do. So it's really cool to see things like that, and to see them improve things like that, because of course it's a monthly fee. I actually have a link I can give you if you want a free trial month. You could literally just order it. I think you just have to pay for shipping. Order it, try it for a month. If you don't like it, you can just ship it back. What happens is if one person orders it, then I can get a free month myself, which is it's a win-win. But you actually just have to pay shipping. My friend actually ordered one using my link, and then returned it in a month because he didn't really like it, and then I think you just had to pay I don't know how much shipping, but so I'll put that in the link just in the description below, and then I'm going to tell you about the second development. But I also want to tell you a little bit more about this first, but because right now what I'm using it for is recovery and also sleep and tracking my sleep. In the past couple of days, my sleep has been complete shit. Because one night I went out on the town, and then last night I had to wake up early for a photo shoot this morning, and also my nose was very stuffed. It's not anymore. I got tips on a really good nasal spray to get, and my friend actually had an extra bottle. I'm very grateful. He gave it to me. It was new. It wasn't even open yet. And I'm very grateful for my friend Travis. Shout out to Travis. But I need to catch up on my sleep, and so I'm using right now this to help me catch up on my sleep, and I'm really excited to improve my sleep and to get better sleep in the coming weeks and months. I'm going to tell you now the second development in my life that is relevant to a modern application of Know Thyself, and that is 23andMe. I just got the results in today. Surprise, surprise, I am 99.8% Ashkenazi Jewish, according to their analysis. And it's 0.2% Spanish/Portuguese. I don't know if that's actually 0.2. I don't know if that means that somebody in my past was from Spain, from that genetic group, or if it means that there's just some kind of, like, because it's such a small percentage, like, who knows if there was actually somebody in my past. I know all my mom's side of the family, all my dad's side of the family are Ashkenazi Jewish, so that's what I expected. If I got any other results, then something would have, I would have to rethink my childhood. But but I got the results I got, and I also, first of all, disclaimer here, I'm not giving any medical advice. I'm sharing my experience, and I'm also sharing my decisions I made, because I took the data from 23andMe, like I spit in a tube, but I'll link to the video where I talk about that. It was like almost a month ago, and then I sent it out, and they just gave me my results back today. I took the raw data from that and gave it to, she's been on the Joe Rogan Experience a lot, Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and she has her own service where you can input into her service. You can be like, hey, here is my DNA data from 23andMe or Ancestry, and I'm going to get back an analysis of a bunch of recent research of health reports of, like, tying, and it, with links to all the studies, of tying my genetic data to studies of what that means. And in part of me getting that data, it said I had to sign a disclaimer saying that I will not make health decisions based on that information. So I'm going to say right here a disclaimer in that I did and I will make health decisions based on the information, but they are my decision to make, and I'm not going to, like, hold Dr. Rhonda Patrick or any of her team responsible if that, I make a decision based on the data and it doesn't turn out well. 100% fine. If anything goes wrong, that's my responsibility. So that's another disclaimer. But it gave back a lot of cool shit. It gave back, I got some gene, I have to read more into it, but there's a gene that I have, a genotype that I have, that is associated with better muscle recovery, and in a certain study, like, people with my genotype had better muscle recovery, and they also had better fast twitch muscle response. And it said that suggested way to build muscle is high weight, low rep, rather than the opposite, specifically for my genotype. Another one that I actually got in this test before from a doctor, he wanted it, but I got more details about it, is the MTHFR gene. Some people call it the motherfucker gene. It's kind of hilarious. And what that is it's a gene that it has to do with the metabolism of, I think, cobalamin? Something that and then also a bunch of B vitamins are involved, and I do it very inefficiently. According to my genotype, it's strongly associated with a reduced ability to metabolize this particular thing in your body, and I am recommended to supplement with 5-methylfolate and B12 and B2. So that helps. Homocysteine. That's it. Homocysteine levels. My homocysteine levels are likely high. I have the genotype for this issue in my body to metabolize and lower the homocysteine levels, which I think is associated with stress and some kind of disease, and it has to do with, like, creating cobalamin or something. So that's a bit mumbo jumbo to me. It's probably mumbo jumbo to you. But what it means is I should, supplement with this stuff. I also, and this has to do with the fast that I told you about, that I'm not eating until Wednesday at 10 a.m. my time, for 2 whole days, because I've talked about my tinnitus in other videos. I have very loud ringing in my ears 100% of the time. And I don't know if it's hearing loss or if it's something else, because it could be a few things, but one of my genes on the list was associated with susceptibility to noise-related hearing loss, and also indicated that autophagy can prevent and or reverse the damage. And autophagy, if you don't know, is when it literally means self-eating. And what that translates to, what autophagy translates to in the concept, not just in the words, is when your cells recycle themselves, your dead cells or worn out cells recycle themselves. And in humans, and a lot of animals, when in humans specifically over 24 hours, and a lot of animals it depends, but in humans, if you fast for over 24 hours, at 24 hours, autophagy sets in. So at a day of fasting, your body's cells that are old start to recycle themselves. Specifically, like your red blood cells is a big one, because they don't even, I think they are only survive for like 4 days. I think after 3 days of fasting, like all your red blood cells are replenished. It's supposed to be like amazing for you, a 3-day fast every year or so. It puts a lot of stress in your body, so that's why you don't do it too often, but once a year is fine. And so apparently the specific thing that my genes marked for is associated with a specific type of hearing loss that can be replenished by, like, the cells that are dead can be recycled, and then new cells, and then the hearing loss is not as bad. So I'm going to see what my tinnitus is like in 2 days. I'm really fucking excited, because I might not have ringing in my ears, or it might be better, in which case I will do more fasts like this. So I'm excited. It's the longest I've ever fasted. I've fasted for 24 hours before, but this is 48. I'm excited. It was actually super easy at the end. So from what I hear, there's a hump at 1 day, which I've experienced before. There's a hump at 16 hours, which I've also experienced before, when your body starts to dip into glycogen storage, which is kind of like emergency carbohydrates that it stores inside itself. It's like, oh, okay, if we need extra energy and we don't have any food, before we dip into the fat cells, we're going to burn our glycogen. And your liver also stores a lot. It's stored in the muscles and the liver. And then after about 24 hours, and then after like 16, I think it's like, I don't know, at some point, your body starts to burn the fat, and then after it burns the fat, your body starts to recycle its own cells. If it doesn't have too much else left to burn, if it doesn't have too much fat to burn, it'll start recycling its own cells and using old cells, recycling the material and making new cells and repairing it stuff. And that's supposed to be amazing for you, as long as you, like, at 3 days, after 3 days, it's apparently, like, can be pretty bad for you. And there's also a hump at 3 days if you want to fast more. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do 3 days. I'm going to do 2 days. So it's a full day of my body getting energy from both fat and recycling itself. Hopefully repairing my ears. So how the hell does that have to do with your tattoo, Joe, and your 7th grade English teacher who taught you philosophy? It's probably what you're curious about. You're like, this is interesting information, but get to the fucking point. And so I'm getting to the fucking point. And the fucking point is that this is all data about myself, about specifically health. And the Whoop Strap, and I'm sure you might have even like come to this conclusion, you're like, what is Joe going to talk about? The Whoop Strap is data about me. And so is 23andMe. I like the original meaning of Northeast Southdown, which meant, in context, know your place more than know yourself. It meant know your place. Literally translated to know yourself, but like know your place. Be humble. Understand that a lot of people are better than you at things, and understand that and learn from them and appreciate them and respect them. Respect people who are better than you at things. I think that is super fucking important. That is really important because I get too full in my head sometimes. I know that a lot of people do. I know a lot of my friends who do. I don't know. I can't think of any specific examples, but everybody does. I definitely do. I 100% get full of myself and need to know how to be humble. I also love the more modern meaning of it, which is have self-awareness. Know who you are. Know how you work. What better way to know how you work than know how your body works? Know your DNA. Know where your DNA comes from, what it says about your ancestry, that I am 99.8% Ashkenazi and 2% Spanish heartthrob, and how my body works, how it metabolizes certain things, how the muscles work, that might be different from other people, and how I can particularly use that to my advantage. And then also this data of how is my sleep? How is my sleep? How is my body performing? How prepared is my body to go at the world and just give it my all? So all of these things put together really make me appreciative of technology today. It makes me appreciative of my own self and the discipline that took me to make the money to make these things. Because I bought these things, like when I first bought 23andMe, I was kind of like, I had to save up for it. And I didn't have to save it for too long, but I had to work extra and save up for it. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful for Rhonda Patrick for what she's done. I'm very grateful for a lot of things. And I'm very grateful for all this data that I get about myself, that I can further propel my body and my health to its highest peak of performance, so I can go through the day enjoying myself. So I guess I'll leave on that note. I'll put the Whoop link in the description if you want to check that out. They do a podcast, I think, every week, and about 2 blog posts a week. They constantly do studies. I just love how they keep improving it, and that's because it's a monthly fee. It's not like a one-time fee of like $300 or like $400. There's another tracker on the market that is like the hardware is as good, but they don't put as much effort into it because it's a flat one-time fee. This is a $30 fee every month, and what I really like about that is that you can see that they're improving their product, and I've seen it with my own eyes. Like, I've seen the team in the fitness event my friend was running. So I highly suggest you use that. I'll talk about my stuff from Whoop on here because, of course, like, how else am I going to help you build a passionate life if I don't show you the way that I'm building a passionate life? Being vulnerable with, like, here's my data. Like, this is the thing. Last night I had shit sleep. This is why. This is what you shouldn't do. Last night I had amazing sleep. This is why. This is what is probably good to do. At least if you want to, like, and learn from me. If you don't, like, great. You can just look at me and laugh when I have bad days. That's fine too. I prefer you don't. If you're following on this channel, you're probably not here to laugh at me. You're probably here to, like, build a life you love and bring out the passion that you have inside you and explore new things. So I hope that helps you out. Subscribe to my channel if it does. Share it with a friend. Like, hit the bell, and all that jazz. And I will see you tomorrow.